Welcome to another episode of the TikTok Famous podcast. Today I have TikTok famous numero uno. I have Gabriella Gomez, who went from a marketing executive to #2 live streamer in the entire United States. And she is holding her own in what people might believe is a very male dominated experience, but she's doing it. So stay with us.
You're listening to the TikTok Famous podcast, where viral fame meets raw reality. Join your host, Meredith Willits, as she dives deep with your favorite creators to uncover the real stories behind the scroll, the highs, the lows, the algorithm chaos, and everything in between. This is not your average interview. This is the TikTok Famous podcast.
Gabriella, thank you so much for being here with me today. I so
Hello.
appreciate it.
Nice to meet you, Meredith. Thanks for having
Nice.
me.
So #2 in the United States, whose ass do we need to kick to get you to #1? I mean, what the heck?
So the thing about daily ranks is that it's always changing and you have to fight for it every single day. So if you're familiar with the TikTok ranking board, it is cutthroat, it is nonstop. You're constantly fighting for your fragments, fighting for your position. You take a day off and you slip down to the next league down.
Yeah,
So it's this really competitive space, and I'm blessed to be able to say that I'm consistently ranked in the top 100 pretty much
wow.
every day is the goal before I get offline.
Yeah,
Now, granted, it changes with the days and fluctuation of streamers, obviously, but there isn't a day where I don't touch the ranks nowadays, a year
that's
later
amazing.
after hitting #2.
That's amazing. So let me
Yeah.
ask you, let's go back,
Mhm.
right? Because so many people that are going to be listening today are going to be
Mhm.
the marketing executive, sales person, 9 to 5, or they see TikTok or creators or influencers. They're like, I could never. That's far removed from who I am. I remember when I started at TikTok, it was let's see, I've been on for a couple of years. So probably at my 23-year-old at the time was like, Mom, you should really start making videos. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? Dance? Like, I'm going to dance, right?
Right.
What every
We're gonna
person
lip sync
says.
and
What do you want me to
dance.
do? Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but then when I started making videos in the beginning, they're hysterical because they're so bad. But then you start to go, well, why not me? Right? Why not me? Why isn't my voice important? When you were back sitting, you worked for Dr. Dre Beats. Who else? I mean, I know you've worked from huge names in marketing.
Yeah, so I started at Beats by Dre. I went to DC Shoes, Monster Headphones. I've worked with, I was head of global marketing for K-Swiss and did some really cool things there with celebrities. Um, and then I worked eventually too on the other side of the fence from that, which is building content for celebrities and influencers
Wow.
and brands. Just based on that experience in the corporate life and knowing what they needed, it was just a natural progression where they liked how I shot on an iPhone. So pick up a camera and let's run for it. But you start to see, definitely to your point, you start to see all these great opportunities on TikTok specifically, and things that I had a premonition about 10 years ago where I left Beats. I couldn't figure out why I couldn't track sales directly from everything we were doing and everything that I was specifically doing, which was getting product in the hands of celebrities, influencers, and influencer wasn't even a term back then. This is
Yeah,
2012,
right.
2014. My definition of influencer is I had to actually fight for the term influencer, but also for some of the creators that we now know as massive, massive celebrities.
Uh-huh.
One of the internal fights, and I don't think I've ever shared this publicly on a podcast or press. But one of the first people that I tried to get Beats at the time to see as a celebrity and worth gifting product to was The Rock.
Oh, wow.
Which, if you think about it, is like, why would you not get on The Rock? Like, that makes so much sense. And at the time, he was wearing Beats consistently and in the gym that I was working out at. And they were busted, broken Beats. And I fought to get him on the seating list and eventually just kind of slid headphones to his team too. But it's funny the way that this content space evolves. Because 10 years ago, did you think that you would be here?
No.
Yeah.
Not even for a s I mean, So I used to be affiliated, own part of a fashion brand that
Mm.
my girlfriend and
Mhm.
I started, and
Amazing.
it was what would that be? Black Friday I did, and then I did Cyber Monday.
Mhm.
And what I fell in love with when I got introduced with you is I did 8 straight hours of Facebook Live selling
Wow.
dresses. And it was
Yeah.
me standing in our office with all the dresses around and a ring circle light, and we
You
it
see my
was
lighting
like
setup back here? Yeah.
right, and it was like there were beams. Oh, I'm having a
Mhm.
déjà vu. There were beams, and I took, like these little headphoney things, and it had a microphone, and I threw it over the beam, and I'm doing this shit all by myself. And there's
Yeah.
like this little, and I just stood there for 8 hours each day,
Yeah.
and I sold thousands of dollars of clothes and
It's amazing.
dresses, and they were just buying them live. And I remember standing there,
Wow.
video of it and photos, because it was just so exciting to do it all by myself too, because my partner lived in South Carolina, so it was a one woman
Mhm.
show at
Mhm.
that moment. And
Mhm.
I remember going, this is
This is the
revolutionary,
future.
that
This is
we
like
can do this ourselves, that we don't need to hire a marketing company, we don't need
Mhm.
to go to QVC, we don't need to do
Yep.
anything, and I'm captivating
Complete
this
control.
complete control
Yep.
of your life, and as a woman,
Mhm.
and I don't need to consult with any company and pay them thousands of dollars for me to do this.
Mhm.
It was
Mhm.
mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, it's game changing and truly life changing for even on the streamer side. I hear this consistently from other streamers. It is life changing.
Yeah,
Period.
yeah,
And I've come from the corporate world, like I had a steady, consistent paycheck, good job. My parents knew what I did, like on a business card, it made sense. I had an office.
yeah,
Um, but this side of the fence is so much more liberating, and I feel the most empowered I've ever felt in my career, in my life, all the things. Um,
yeah.
yeah. How
And
long
you're
ago
kind
was
of
your
all
Facebook Live?
over, like, you're kind of all over the place, like, you do like, when I go on some of your social media, it's a lot of fashion,
Yeah.
it's a lot of, like, like, the stills and, like, just, like, beautiful photos, beautiful videos.
Hmm.
And so, like, if you go to your page, that's what you're gonna see, but then there's this whole live streamer part that is very, very different than I popped onto yours, where you're just having
It's
conversations, or
yeah.
you're just being you
Hmm.
for
Hours.
hours.
Hours and hours.
Hours.
Imagine having to
Yeah,
FaceTime with your friend and you lose track of time. Have you ever had those where it's like all of a sudden it's 2, 3 hours later and you're like, oh shoot,
yeah,
we've been on FaceTime for or on a call forever. It very much feels like that. And so sometimes I just lose track of time. There's that
yeah.
element of it. That's how it kind of I slipped into the longer live streams on my personal page, but I started on the shop side. So just how you were doing
Mm,
the Facebook live shopping, and you're selling dresses. I started out 2 years ago. I jumped into a live stream for Bella Thorne's jewelry brand and just started telling stories about creating content with her. The stories resonated. The conversation started flowing, and from there, I got picked up by Dolls Kill to do their Black Friday shopping streams, which is a longer stream than what I was used to. It was like, okay, we go from an hour or two to now 8 hours. That's a big
wow.
jump. But it
Yeah,
didn't feel like 8 hours.
yeah,
So that's where I was like, okay, we're on to something here. I have stamina and I can do it and talk for hours. If you ask any of my friends too, they're like, this isn't shocking to us. You could talk to a
mm,
wall at the bar, like we're just
yeah,
redirecting energy now.
yeah.
Um, so it
And
makes a
that's
lot of
that's a
sense.
that's a talent. I don't like,
Thank
my
you.
husband, he's been on a couple podcasts, and he's like, "You're actually really good at this." Like,
Yeah, yeah,
but I'm curious. I'm a
yeah,
curious person. I love people. I'm very
exactly.
interested in their story. But to be able to hold space and talk about products, or a product, or how you use the product, or how you love the product, and how the product's going to be good, that is a talent. That is an art that people do not understand. And unless you've watched it happen, maybe being in the room with you, or even watching
Mhm.
the live, there's a lot of creators. I will sit there and scroll TikTok, right? And you have the
Complete
people
chemistry.
coming up that are standing in a hot tub talking about the hot tub, or the
Yeah,
little car people. Like, I'm always somehow finding myself on those, like, little cars or whatever. And I'm
yeah,
just like, those sons of bitches are on there for hours talking about, like, there's an art to it to stay
hours.
on. And yeah,
Yeah. And even if you're not selling anything, and even if you're just talking or, um, starting your stream out, just to you see a very clear cut difference of who's going to make it. I can tell right away if a streamer is going to be successful or have the stamina to just keep going. Even
Yeah.
if you're not making money, if you're not selling something, even if you're not gaining followers, do you have the resilience, the tenacity, the stamina to keep going even when you have
Yeah.
two people in your room? Because that's how you're going to see longevity, and see success ultimately, like long term, is can they keep going? Whether it's an hour stream, 8 hour stream,
Yeah.
how do you pivot? So my rambles oftentimes seem like rambles, and it definitely feels like rambling. But now I even learn how do you hold space for the chat? How do you sit there silently and keep an engagement going? Because
Yeah.
that's definitely part of the algorithm, right? So TikTok doesn't like it when
Right.
we're silent on screen. They like rapid
Right.
paced
Like,
feed.
share, comment,
Yeah.
send
And
shit, right? All the things.
exactly. How do you call out certain things without getting flagged? Because with the new community guidelines, that's an ever evolving thing, right? Um, so there's all these elements to it that if you're not interested, you're not curious, and you're not consistently motivated to keep learning things, you're gonna flame out. You're going to
Yeah.
fizzle out. It's just a natural thing with anybody. If you keep failing at something, do you keep going or do you fizzle out? And so the
Right.
difference between the two groups of streamers is pretty obvious to me.
When you were at the 9 to 5, what was it like when you did leave? Because I'm sure a lot of people would love to do what you're doing, even to try it. Like, what would your advice be to them? Like, try it low key from home, see if it fits. Like, I think that's like you're saying, like, there's a lot of times I'll see a creator and you can tell right away, like, if they have it or not. There's just some je ne
Yeah,
sais quoi about them.
right.
But what would you tell people, like, to start slow, start big, start
I,
posting, or start lives?
yeah, I always say start, and ramp up. Don't burn yourself out on a 12-hour stream if you've never done it before. And people try to
Yeah.
jump right into it. So I get this a lot where I have a lot of females in the chat that'll ask me like for tips and things like that, and I see them trying to do the same hours I'm doing, and they've never streamed before, or they're just new to streaming. They're a month in. The quickest way to burn out is to jump right in and go that
Yeah.
hard that fast, because you're not learning how to build a base and build up your tolerance and build up some stamina. It's like
Yeah.
sports, you got to train for it. I was a different case because I came from the shopping side and I could talk for hours, and I had a couple of experiences at least before jumping into my own live stream that proved that I could do that. But majority of people are not going to have that same just jump right in and keep going attitude or ability. So that's probably
Yeah.
my biggest thing is ramp up to it, learn what other people are doing, learn what you like to do on there too, because if you don't like to
Yeah.
battle, don't freaking battle, you know?
Yeah.
If you're miserable at like you don't like doing certain things on there, like I won't share a screen with somebody that I'm miserable with.
Yeah.
If I'm feeling awkward, it takes a lot for me to feel awkward. So that's saying something of, okay, I maybe don't share a screen with them anymore.
Yeah.
So anything that makes you feel like you're pushing yourself beyond what you want to be, don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it.
Mhm.
What did your parents think and your friends and family when you're like,
Oh
"Okay, I'm
God.
done?"
Oh God. Yeah. When I left corporate life, it was a mixture of things. I was dealing with health issues, medical
Mm,
issues that my stress levels had exacerbated. And so it was a much needed step back.
mhm.
And I was fortunate enough to get kind of thrown these opportunities and truly like pushed into some opportunities where luck and opportunity kind of went hand in hand.
Right?
Um, so luckily, but even that, when I was making content for like well-known A-list and then some people, I was making content for well-known people that my parents knew, and they still were like, "What are you doing with your life?" But then again, when I started my career, they're like, "You're gonna work for a rapper headphone brand? Like, what are you doing?" Like it's they're learning to trust my risks because I'm not a risk taker by nature. But
Really?
I'm not at all. I'm a calculated person. I like safety, I like stability. And so this whole world of mine has been a big relinquish of control. I've learned how to
Yeah.
step back and because you have no control in the stream when you're in battles specifically. You can't gift yourself. You can't do like otherwise you'd have more control over the nature of things. So me not being a risk taker and them knowing that I play it safe, I think has helped my parents kind of ease their anxiety. But I mean, I still get calls from, I have my peers that used to be at Beats with me 10 years, 15 years later going, what do you do? Did we break you? What happened? You know, like what,
Yes,
you're a
this is your
what?
fault.
Yeah, which I was like, they're the opposite. They're the ones that pushed me into this, I would say, too, because a lot of them had said you need to do on camera stuff. You need to be in this zone. You need to be leaning into content. But that's scary. You know, that I've seen so many influencers and celebrities go that roller coaster route. That
Yeah,
why on earth would I take that risk when I've got such a resume to be able to do the consistent, stable job? So in my head, it was like, why on earth would I be on this side when it's a quick flash in the pan and then what?
yeah,
That was what I was known for, is sitting down with people and going, okay, influencer B, what's your end goal? How do I help you
yeah,
get somewhere with that end goal? But what is your ultimate goal? And if it is to be a content creator, you are missing the mark.
yeah.
There needs to be a bigger end goal. Um,
Would
so
you say
same,
you have a niche? I mean, would you say, because I know for myself, I have a girlfriend and she's verified and she makes
Mhm.
tons of money because she has
A
claimed a
clear-cut
niche.
niche in the
Yeah,
niche, yeah.
and she's
Um,
like, "Meredith, you're too all over the place, like, you need a niche, and no one knows what you're bringing," and so they can't find your content. They don't know who to deliver it to
yeah.
because I have not niched down. Do you feel that you have a, quote, "niche"?
I think that's where I was trying to lean in with my content. If you, like you mentioned, my content's very specific, kind of in the fashion realm. We call them elevated fit checks, is now
Mhm.
what we've decided as a group on my live streams. How do we define my content? Because it's always a question, is what's your content? So I've
Yeah,
had to define it. But now pushing forward, I've been asked to even do 3 different buckets and
okay,
different realms that kind of will introduce what my live streams are about to my content followers and
yeah.
audience, because they're 2 separate beasts, completely
Yeah,
2 separate beasts.
that's how I what I when I went and looked at your stuff, I'm like,
Yeah,
"Wait a second, there's
but the
this
audiences are
person,
different, which is
and then
wild.
there's that person on
Yeah,
live who's very, like, interactive and just
yeah,
having conversations and having
mhm,
more, like, fun."
yeah,
And then the stuff that I see on your social is more s
it's
I don't know
fashion.
if the word is serious, because how serious is fashion? I mean, whatever.
Sure,
But more serious, more grounded,
yeah,
more, beauty focused, whereas the
mhm,
personality of you is, I think, probably why you're so highly ranked, is that's, like, kind of that real side of you that people are falling
yeah,
in love with the humanity, and then, great, you look beautiful also, so they kinda go well hand in hand, but it is definitely 2 different
2 different beasts.
humans.
Yep,
Yeah.
and so I learned quickly that, and this is the algorithm as of last year, right? It's changed 3 times, hard pivots. Don't even start. We love TikTok. We love TikTok
We love
so
TikTok.
much. We love TikTok Shop so much.
Yeah.
But I knew how to get traffic from my content to then help me get ranked.
Mm.
So the people that are in my live stream consistently every single night maybe aren't the biggest gifters, which is cool. It means I have a community. It means I've got that baseline group that stays in there and engages with me, and that's the core audience. But then you've got the big gifters that are going to push you forward visibility wise. And when I was growing, that was the main objective, is how do I get that high spender into my live
Yeah.
stream? And that's really going to be the fit checks and the more elevated content, fashion wise, because it's just an eye catching thing and it's a lure, it's an
Yeah.
appeal. And then when they come in, can they stay there longer? Will they be part of the team? Are they going to engage in the community and be part of this squad long term?
Yeah.
But first we got to get them in the door. And I'm not a known person. So I had to get him in the door somehow. Now it's how do we merge the 2 worlds? But that serious side really was meant because it was, I knew how to do content on the fashion side. I know how to produce it. I want to be in fashion and be able to do brand stuff fashion wise
Yeah.
long term. That's the end goal, right? So you have to keep
Right.
creating for your end goal. So I'll always have that element and that content base of fashion editorial, let's call it,
Yeah,
elevated
right.
fit
Yeah,
checks.
agree.
That will always be a part of my content. It's gonna
Well,
stay
it
a
kinda
pillar.
makes sense, right? I mean, when you
Yeah,
put someone in People Magazine or Vogue or Elle or Maxim or whatever the hell, you're not putting their, like, silly
that's
side,
every
you're
day.
putting
Yeah,
beautiful photos in there,
yeah,
and then there's that person that acts or sings or whatever, and
right,
that's the thing that they do, but this is what they look like or whatever, and so
yeah,
that's what's in the magazine. So it does make sense. So myself, I've done lives before. I do find them, the ones that I do, and maybe this is where I can learn from you, and so could everybody that's listening and watching, is I feel like I need to give them something, that I need to be
Mhm.
producing, or, like I'm psychic medium and intuitive life coach. So I feel like I need to be life coaching and doing, I don't feel like just me having a conversation is enough. What's your take on what you bring to the viewers outside of your face and bubbly personality? What's your like kind of modus operandi when you go on? What are you giving them?
And that's something that I think I've struggled with and still continuously will struggle with. I don't think if anyone's clear on that in my sort of world of live stream, the just chatting world, that means
Mhm.
you're too, I don't want to say contrived, but you're too specific and you're trying too hard in one lane. Part of the beauty of my stream is that it is very comfortable, very safe. We're talking about things. If I lean into certain things and I start to talk about the algorithm, yes, that's my value add is
Mhm.
one, it's exposure for new streamers. I love doing that. That's something I love to do. That's a passion point. It's teaching new streamers how to stream. And so that's where the algorithm comes in. And I
I
even have
love
some of
that.
the big dogs that have been in this for 5 years will sit in my stream either on a creep account or their real account and just sit there and absorb some of the information. That's my late night. If you ever
Okay.
scroll and you're finding me middle of the night or like early hours of the morning, we're talking like 3 a.m. Pacific time.
Yeah.
So usually I'm sitting there talking about what we've seen for the night and rambling about something about the algorithm. I'm getting questions from large streamers and new ones as well of like, how do I do this? Or what are you seeing? Or that's my value add on a grander scale. I love doing that.
So
Um,
teaching in
but if
essence.
I
I mean,
if I
basically you're
teach,
you're educating.
yeah, but if I teach at certain hours of the night, it doesn't feel as natural. And so I've learned that the hours kind of dictate the audience. And then also, if I'm forcing the teaching element too early in the night, the fun is lost. It's too, we're here for school.
Yeah.
And so even late night, if it's not a teaching moment, it's a real heart to heart. We're talking about something very real and something that we're all experiencing and we've learned through the night. It's come up a few times. So then by the end of the night, we're like, all right, let's talk about this, and it's usually
So it's
something
kind
very
of like
emotional.
a BS session when
Yeah.
you stay up way too late at college, and it just kind of evolves and morphs from one topic to another topic
Yep.
as
Hmm.
life does in long conversations.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the terms I like to use. We're living life on live
Yeah.
because especially with the long streamers, I mean, you go 8 to 12 hours, no breaks. Like nowadays, I have to even find a way to go to the restroom because the new
I was
community
going to say,
guidelines don't
you're
let
like
me
a
go.
filibuster out there.
No,
You're
legitimately, if anyone needs a filibuster speech, like I got you on this, I can go for hours. But now even with the new community guidelines, I can't leave to go to the restroom without figuring out a plan. You can't leave the screen. So there's all
really?
the, oh yeah, it's a new one. It's called low quality, static imagery. So I can't go to the back of the screen even and go adjust the lights or um, without flagging
Get
essentially.
out.
And you won't even know that you're flagged. Here's something that drives me insane and most people don't know. Like the fact that you're shocked by that too is like why don't we know these things? I'm assuming you're on TikTok a lot. We should
Yeah.
all figure out and be knowing what these new rules are. So that's where a lot of people come to me for questions, big streamers, because they're not paying
Yeah.
attention to the rules or reading the fine print. I'm absorbing information from like 18 different people that are internal at TikTok, external at TikTok, but working very closely, or agency side. I have every agency coming to me asking me for questions or help with their newer live streamers. So I become, I guess that teacher element comes in again very, very clearly when people are starting to seek you out for help. On that note too, that's something that I like to call out is when people are seeking something from you, they're going to tell you, and it's going to be a consistent theme. So instead of chasing what do I want to be, this passion point, which is fashion for me,
Mhm.
realistically, I know that people come to me to seek out help and learning and guidance on how to become this live streamer side. So that is a big part that won't ever get lost either. Keep your passion, but follow your purpose, which
Yeah.
is what people are going to tell you and come to you and ask you for help with consistently. and it's going to be a consistent theme of questions.
Well, I think that that's when I used to have a thing Monday Night Medium, and I do it, on Monday on Facebook, and people actually, like, look forward to it, and when
Hmm.
I started kinda getting lazy, I'm like, "I sort of don't wanna do this anymore," people would like, "When are you coming back?" Like, people love that consistency, and I think that that is so key from what you're saying is like, people know Gabriella comes on at this time and XYZ, and because I think for a lot of people, we're so disconnected, we're so isolated just in life, that you become their go-to evening friend, like,
Yep.
that they know
Yep.
that they can go and you're gonna be there, and I mean, I don't wanna go so far as it saves them, but it saves a lot of people that they know that you're
Yes.
there.
I have so many, and this is, I got chills when you said that because I have so many DMs from people that have said, you took me through like a dark time. And
Yeah,
these are people that were unbadged before. They're either gifting now or they're not gifting, but they're engaging in the community in such a way that I'm like, I'm calling them out consistently because they're my go-to person to like drop stickers
yeah,
in the chat, comment things. They become a relied person in the team and they feel valued and they feel like they have a
yeah,
purpose every night too.
yeah.
But a lot of the conversation that I've had in DMs, and I rarely will check my DMs just because of the chaos of it. But if I know I skim them, and if I know a name and it calls
Yeah.
out to me, I look at it and it's usually, hey, you got me through a breakup. Hey, I lost my wife and I know that you're always there and you feel comfortable. I'm not, I know you're not going to get mad at the chat. You're not yelling at people. You're not cussing people out for the most part. Like you're a safe
You're not
place
on
for me to hang
drugs, you're not
out.
wasted.
Which, like, it never used to be a thing on TikTok Live, but those things evolve. But the
Yeah.
consistency is again another element that I can't tell streamers, new streamers especially, enough. Consistency, consistency, consistency with your content, with your lives, consistency. And you need a pattern and a schedule. Because we're the new TV. So what's
Yeah.
show, Meredith? What show did you watch after school every day? Do you remember? You turn
Well, I know
on.
before school it was Woody Woodpecker. I
Okay.
lived on Woody Woodpecker, and then
Hmm.
Saturday morning cartoons, it was like the Flintstones, like, I
Yeah.
had those certain things, and then we had,
Yeah.
like, the after school specials, and you ran home and you watched them, and, like, they
Yeah.
were life, like, that was you
Yeah.
looked forward to it.
Those characters felt like a part of your upbringing.
Yeah,
So like Seventh Heaven, Gilmore Girls. I can't tell
yeah,
you, I've watched Gilmore Girls religiously. It was a family event. Me, my sister, and my mom would watch Gilmore Girls every night at a certain time. We knew it was
yeah.
on. We'd come home and make sure the TV was on at that time. Even if it was on in the background, we had to do other things. It was still on. It was still part of it. And we felt
I
like
remember
those
in
were still part of our
college,
upbringing.
and we would hear, like, we would every time we'd get ready for, Beverly Hills 90210 and Melrose
Mm-hmm.
Place, and
Yep.
we would
Yep.
just hear that music come on, and everyone
Feel
would
it.
come running to my room because
Everyone's
I
running
had, like, a
around.
whole setup, and we would
Yeah.
just get so excited, we'd hunker down, and that was,
Yeah.
like, our time to
Yeah.
hang out together, and, I've been talking about this for a while, but if you go ask, geez, even my older kids who are 29 and 27, my younger kids who are 17 and 14, what TV shows do you like? They look at me like I have 3 heads. Like,
Yep.
they don't watch TV,
Yeah.
they watch streamers. The other day, I sat
Yeah.
down with my 14-year-old, and he's got that, crazy they were picking Pokemon cards, and you
Ah,
can
yes.
see the stuff coming up with the comments and, the whole
Yeah.
thing. I'm like, "What are we watching?" He's like, "Well, I'm not gonna go buy a box of Pokemon cards, but I can watch them do it." And that's the
Mhm.
thing, like, these kids these days, they don't watch TV shows, they don't watch
Nope.
television, they watch
Nope.
streaming, they watch YouTube, they watch, TikTok, and
Mhm.
this is the way of the world, and if you wanna fight it, you can, but there's no point
Why?
because no one's
Why are you
going
fighting?
back to television.
The minute we see vertical TVs come into play, I think we're in for a rough and rude awakening for anyone that questioned it. And
Yeah,
it's just a matter of time. Yeah, because really and truly, this is the new TV.
which is
Period.
wild.
It's wild.
Like,
It's wild. 10 years ago, I sketched out and built out like the whole UI and a business plan and a map of this app that I wanted. I was like, man, wouldn't it be cool if I could pause the TV show, whether it's Billions or I think it was like Gossip Girl at the time, was like
mhm,
just reference point for me where I was like, man, if I could pause Gossip Girl and buy anything from their outfits, or even while I'm watching, have a connected
Yes.
app where at the same time, and as I'm watching it, I'm on this app that's synced up
Yeah.
and the products are coming up at the same time. Welcome TikTok Shop.
Yep. Well, I
10
mean,
years later.
look at I think it was Summer House that I
Mhm.
was watching recently, and they had a QR code in the corner on YouTube
Brilliant.
TV, and you can scan it and buy stuff from the show, be it their clothes or stuff in the
Mhm.
house or whatever.
Yep.
And my husband were
Yep.
like, we're like, holy shit, like this
Yeah,
is a
it's
thing.
coming. Oh, it's been a thing for 10 years. So when I shopped around that app, I went to major funds too. Like I make weird friends in LA.
Right.
It's just a part of the nature here. And I'd go to them and they were high up decision makers and they're like, this is so advanced, but here's the other companies that are doing it. YouTube Red, that was the evolution of YouTube Red at the time was where
Mhm.
their end goal was. Amazon X-Ray. Does when you see the X-ray part of
Mm,
Amazon where you
mm-mm.
so if next time you're watching a show on Amazon, if you accidentally like pause it and scroll down a bit, there's all of the actors, they have their bios in there.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I have seen that.
That's
I
Amazon
have seen that.
X-ray. And they're
Yeah.
scanning the screen and then giving you the information. Why aren't they doing that with products? They are, it's just not as we're not ready for it as consumers yet,
Yeah.
truly. Like it's an evolution. TikTok Shop is getting us ready for that. And I turned on a Samsung TV and one of the ads had it linked so that I could purchase it and it was synced to my Amazon account. They're like, "Do you want to add this to your recent Amazon order?"
Wow.
I was like, "Oh shit, it's coming." Like,
Yeah.
it's only a matter of time. We got only a short amount of time left before it's truly everything is synced up. Which I think we're starting to see that with the live side. That's where we're going to see the biggest jump forward is TikTok Live and the shopping side of things. And if the shopping side didn't have so many restrictions, I think we'd see a lot more people getting into it. It's just there's
Yeah.
such regulations and restrictions on the TikTok shop streams um, to make sure that they don't get flagged, that they're not as widely used. Like I don't even use the shopping stream side, that function.
Oh,
Um,
really?
no, not right now, anyways. I go on other brands' pages and do the shopping streams for them that way. But eventually, once I get clearance to do certain things, and I have to like pre-approve it and like pitch it to TikTok and do all those things. Um,
Mhm.
but there's too many restrictions where I would get flagged constantly.
Does it
Even just
feel
telling a story.
weird to have, like, that close of a relationship with TikTok? Because, like, for the rest of us, it's like, "Oh, TikTok over there." Like, it's this, like, thing that we're just on, but, like, you're having conversations with people there. Like, is that interesting or bizarre to you to be able to talk to someone at TikTok that's a human?
Mm, That's maybe it's I don't think I quite fully appreciate the fact that one just said that. Like that's actually I don't think I thought about it that way. Because I could throw a rock and hit the office pretty much. It's right here. If I'm at the gym, chances are three people around me are working at TikTok. So it's just
Wow.
part of the natural conversations. And I think that's also where I did and I do need to appreciate more my location and the ability to have some of the conversations I've had is really because I was around the right people at the right time.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
How do
So
you
yeah.
or do you I haven't logged into one of
Yeah.
yours that I saw you talking politics. Do you tend to stay out of the fray of politics because it's huge now on the For You page, at least mine?
Mhm.
And that is probably one of my biggest issues is that I get served it and then it inspires me and then I get caught in it and then I do stay off of my what should be my niche and then I make a political video and then people are following me for one thing and then I serve up another thing, which I think everything is that is political is spiritual and everything that's spiritual can be, you know what I mean? I think there's cross of all the things. Do you stay out of politics? Do you stay out of religion? And if so, how?
So I go live with every corner of TikTok, and that
Okay.
by nature means I trip into political and religious streams. It just is what it is. The art form is how do you stay neutral? How do I ask questions? Because truly, I don't know enough about either side to really make a stance. And
Mhm.
that's what I'll say on stream too, is like I don't know enough about this to have a firm stance in it. if they want to educate me on things, and I can keep it so that it doesn't turn people off in my stream either, because I have a lot of people that like the fact that I don't talk politics or religion.
Yeah,
It's a
see,
safe
that's the rub.
space.
Yeah,
So they know if I get on with a political streamer, I'm gonna keep them in line, if that makes sense.
yeah,
I'm gonna show them where the boundary is and hold the boundary. And that's across everything. That's any streamer. Again, another piece of advice to new streamers is hold your boundaries. If you don't like talking about something, don't talk about it. Mute them. You can mute
yeah,
anybody. It's easy. If they start going on a rant, mute. If you don't
yeah,
want that viewpoint, um, it might be extreme, and maybe that's not a comfortable space for you. You say you need to speak up, but then also like hold that boundary. It's okay. That's that
yeah,
your stream is yours. Now with certain topics recently, I've been able to say my opinions on it from a neutral stance. It's not about, right or left. It's what's right as a human and
yeah,
not. So that's always gonna be my stance. I'm always gonna keep the neutral part there. But
yeah,
you know when something is right as a human or not. There's
yeah.
basic things that I can feel confident stating on the stream, and that's
Yeah,
how I like to keep those conversations in that box.
yeah,
Um,
it's tough.
but I'm not going
It's
to
it's
not go live with political streamers. I'm not going to not go live with religious streamers either. And it's just a matter of um, keeping your integrity, keeping what you want your stream to be about or what your content to be about, and feeling okay in that. If you want to talk about politics, cool. If you want to mix it in, cool. If anyone that does it, that's following you that gets turned off by that isn't a true like supporter,
yeah.
you know?
How do you pick your person that you're gonna go with, or does it just come up and say, "Invite this person to stream with you, go live with you?" Do you just click it like that, or is it pre-planned?
So sometimes they're pre-planned, and that's what my focus for the next week is. I need to go schedule out battles and co-hosts because I need to be on more of a schedule. I'm at that point in my stream where it's time to schedule things and really have series that are programs that everyone tunes in at a specific time. That's one thing that I'm now
Yeah,
working on is how do I consolidate my hours because people are so used to me being on. I felt like furniture is the best way that I could say that at a certain point. It's like when you're always
yeah,
somewhere, people expect you always to be there.
yeah.
Um, and they take it for granted a little bit. And
I
one day
agree with
off is
that.
not going to change that. So even me taking a day off, which I rarely do, I didn't for the first year straight. I didn't take a single day
Wow.
off.
So you were streaming every single day for 365 days all night?
Yeah, mentally that gets you. And I'm a
Yeah,
machine. But when you're breaking the machine for various factors that I'm not getting the support from, certain things like my agency at the time, that's a hefty endeavor. But I was afraid that if I took a night off and I
you
wasn't
dip.
there, I'd not recover. Now I'm
Yeah,
learning there's this evolution now, and the next stage of my live stream is how do I plan and schedule this out that allows me the time and space to go and do the things that people liked hearing about originally. The
right, you gotta
story.
live to talk, right?
You gotta live to
You
have
need
some
to
stories.
experience. Yeah, you gotta have
Yeah.
stories.
And that's part of like people love to hear about me going to events or to this and that. I have access to a lot of things here and have for years that people like to hear about. And if I can talk about, the experiences, that's a great thing. That gives me a fresh energy too when I come back to the stream. Even just if
Yeah,
I'm sleeping for, if I'm not, I went when I was live and when I was sick. Like nobody
you
would
know.
know. And which has its ups and downs too. Like I was going through a bad medical condition that caused a lot of pain.
Mhm.
And people saw it on the stream. I was crying, I was tearing up because I was in so much pain, and people would be making fun of me because I was trying to roll out a knot in my back caused from inflammation. And I just finally broke down and I'm like, okay, why I got yelled at by some other streamer and everybody left. And I was like, cool, you guys are just abandoning me. I'm here every night and you guys are abandoning me. Like you can have those real conversations on there, and that's the cool part about live stream versus content is you can have that open dialogue.
Yeah,
But that's when I learned too that it's okay to take a night off. It's okay to go
yeah,
and live your life. It's just now I need to schedule those moments and schedule show formats essentially.
yeah,
Take it to the
yeah,
next level. It's time to stop chasing the ranks and the rat race of the ranks and start looking at it like, okay, I want interesting show formats, and that's going to allow me to slim down my hours, have everybody feel like we're a team, because those large moments are what push me forward beyond
Yeah.
belief. Like
Well, as
USA versus Korea.
you're sitting here talking
Like,
and I'm like sitting there going, why not have like the Gabriella Gomez show
mhm,
with an opening,
mhm,
with like a talk show
yeah,
where you have certain guests, you invite them on. Like, why aren't we doing these things
yeah,
that are
yeah,
very scheduled, that are
yep.
even 1 hour? And then people have to be there because they're only going to get,
It's
it's kind
only
of
an hour.
like, like if you have a whole cake, you don't need to have a piece because you can have it whenever and how much. Hey, no, you get one slice of cake, enjoy every single morsel of that because
Yep,
that's it. When the cake piece is
that's
gone, it's
it.
gone.
Yep.
So, it's kind of the same thing with you. Like, I'm just imagining you can really dial back so much because instead of 10 people being on for 12 hours, you'll have, 1,000 people on for 1 hour. And
Yep.
they know that
Yep.
they're dialing in, like you said, the
Hmm.
after school special of the
Yep.
Gabriella Gomez show. Like we all sat around watching Oprah. Like we
Exactly.
were
Ex-
there for Oprah. Like we
exactly.
we
Exactly that.
watched that damn
Yep.
show.
Or the late
So
show or any of these shows, it's 1 hour and you turn it on, you want to watch it live, not the
yeah,
rerun of it.
right.
It's definitely the evolution of this. I knew as a marketer I started with 2,000 followers,
Yeah.
so I needed to get in front of people. Part of that was strategic to go on live for so long. And then at a certain point, I think I was chasing the ranks, chasing the visibility, trying to get as many people. I had a goal to hit, and I still haven't hit that goal as far as followers go. And then as far as concurrent viewers go. Um, but and I was close to doing that 1 hour, 2 hour block of time. I've talked about it for the past 6 months.
Mhm.
Um, and then shifts in the algorithm, throw a wrench in the plan, as it happens.
Right.
So recently even I said, what, screw the algorithm. We love TikTok. But we love TikTok. But screw the algorithm. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna dedicate time because a lot of it is if you're live for 12 hours, when are you planning that freaking live stream event? When are you planning that? When are you producing that
I
schedule?
I can't even imagine, to be perfectly honest with you. Like
Yeah.
besides like getting ready, like half the time I make a video and I'm like, "Oh my god, that just went out to like a lot of people and I look
Yeah.
like death." But like you're just like you're inspired and you make it or you don't and then you
Yeah.
forget about it, whatever.
Yep.
But like you're saying, you need to have
Reason like
experiences to
I didn't
talk
founder.
about or you're just going to be talking about TikTok,
Hmm. Yep.
because then your whole world is TikTok.
Even
How
just current
do
events.
you
I hadn't turned on a TV, so how would
right?
I know about what's going on in the world? I'm like, tell me what's happening. Like I rely on the chat to a certain degree because I'm like,
Yeah.
what's happening in the world, guys? Who who is this person that everyone's talking about? What's this group 7 thing everyone's on? I don't know.
Which I don't even know what that is, and it's, like, supposed to be a spiritual thing, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't. I can't
Yeah.
anymore. Like,
Yeah.
if
Even this,
3
I'm like,
AI
every
Atlas or whatever shows
dictionary.
up, then there it is. Here
Yeah.
here we go. And alien scene.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, like, that's kind of interesting, though, because if you think about it, when you started asking for advice, like, think how many people love to give advice and opinion. So
Oh,
asking questions
yeah.
is actually a really great point of the plot here. Like
It's
like,
great. And
what
then
is
you're
was 3 and then
crowdsourcing what
everyone
the next show is. So
yes.
it could be part of it. It's just it has to be a little bit more. You still need time to produce that and to narrow it down into the show format or to find the guests. Because I've got a Rolodex of people I can call on. It's just scheduling. I don't even have time to schedule
Yeah.
things. To like properly prepare a host or a guest or I've been trying to rig. I have a camera rigged to my ceiling because I'm planning to produce something larger and want to switch my streams up, but it takes time to do that. So like that's been up there for a month and I have not figured out the rest of it because I haven't had time. So
Yeah. And you
it's
have to
just
have time to
it's
live. Like, you don't wanna look back on this time in your life and be like, "So, what'd you do, and how was it?" And you're like, "Well, I was on TikTok live for 12
mhm,
hours a day." Like,
mhm,
eventually, I think you have to course correct and realize,
yeah,
"Okay, so where am I at? What am I doing?"
yeah,
Obviously, you're making a good life for yourself at this point. This is
mhm,
your full-time job. Not a lot of people can say that.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
maybe it's just, all right, what do I want to take from this?
mhm,
And what do I want to grow now? What do I want to teach people or whatever,
Yeah.
and how do I parlay this
Yep.
into something that's more sustainable? Like, I
Yes.
think that's the end game, right? Is sustainability.
That's always been the end game. And I've watched streamers who have been doing this for 5 years do the same thing since I started watching them, and they include me into battles and all that. But they are so routine, and they do this. This is all they do. They don't have a personal life. I know, because I matched up with one of them 10 years ago, 5 years ago, on a dating app, and he's been doing it ever since, 5 years
Wow.
straight, every night, no breaks, no days off. Like, that's soul crushing,
Yeah.
because you don't have time to do any of the things that people started following you or listening to you in the first place for.
So when
Also,
you're
what's the end
doing like,
goal?
yeah, right. When
It's
you're
back to
doing the
that. What's
lives
your end goal?
the live stream, is the income that's coming in, since you're saying you're not on like TikTok shop per se doing it and selling things directly through the links, right? When you're saying I make money from this being live for 8 to 12 hours, which is wildly ambitious, is that the gifting? Is that the hearts coming in and all that stuff?
So we don't get gifted, or we don't get earnings from likes or comments, shares, engagement. We don't get, you could have 1,000 people in your room and not make a cent on your stream.
Really?
Thousands of thousands. Some of the most popular, and that's how I differentiate popular versus successful, or high earning. Some of the best streams don't make money. Like, as far as how many people they have in the room. Like, I watched a stream by a very popular TikToker, and she couldn't engage in the chat. She couldn't figure out I was gifting in there too. She couldn't figure that out. She didn't even know what it was. She was just like, "Oh, cool, a diamond gun," or like,
She's
"I
like,
sent a
"Oh,
lion."
you made my
Yeah.
face into a dog.
And she's
Thanks for
like, "What
giving
is
me that."
that?" Like, nobody teaches you. So they drop you in without giving you the full tools, which is why I
Yeah.
like to help a lot of new streamers out that are like, they have a chat, or they maybe don't have a chat because they don't know how to engage with the chat and drive people to stay in there. Um, and I like to teach them how to monetize it without having to sell anything, because some people can't sell or aren't
Yeah.
comfortable selling a product. I know I can sell a product, which is where I still have my showcase. I still do stuff on TikTok Shop, I still do UGC content, but my earnings completely from the public record, because there is a place to look up exactly how much streamers are making off
Wow.
gifting. You can look that up. There's a whole website that shows just on the gifting side what they're
Wow.
making. And my earnings come from, like, 90% come from gifting.
Wow.
And so now it's a matter of, how do you have these investors, essentially? What are they getting? What are they contributing to? And that's where I'm like, I need to make an effort, like a conscious, hard line in the sand. I need to start doing what I wanted to do and what I built this for. It's just I had to get the exposure first and build a
Yeah.
following first. So there's steps to it. But yeah, it's gifting. Unlike other platforms where you get um, earnings because of views and things like that. This is just gifting, is how you rank up. That's how you're getting the ranks. And that's why the ranking system is there. It's to drive people
That's
to want to
wild.
gift.
Have you ever had to like block someone or whatever because you felt like either A, this person is spending money they don't have, and
Yes,
this is,
yes.
yeah,
Yep.
like there's people that, like, I had actually had a client who was just sending
Mhm.
money and sending money, and I'm like, okay,
Stop.
no, like you
Yeah.
need to, like, you're gonna
Yeah.
go broke. Because she's like, but I feel really nice helping people. I'm like, but you're gonna
But you're
bankrupt
hurting
yourself.
yourself. You're hurting
Right.
yourself. Yeah. Yep.
And
Yep.
have you ever felt like you were in danger from like a stalker type energy
Oh
where you're
yeah.
like, okay, this
Oh yeah.
person's way, yeah.
Yeah. That on both parts. I blocked one of my mods before,
Really?
because I knew they were spending outside their means. And or putting themselves, they were spending too much on the stream. Um,
Wow.
so I'm like, cool, if you want to feel valued in here, I need help doing this. I need a
Oh,
moderator that I can trust. Um, and it, I know that certain people recharge certain amounts, or if they're like, oh, I can't do it, cool. Here, I redirect their energy if they are telling me in the chat once, even if I know they've told me once, sorry, I can't recharge today, I'm waiting till payday. The minute I hear that, like, that's not, don't even worry about
yeah.
gifting. Tap the screen. get my
Yeah.
taps up to 100,000 likes. I give them a mission and a
Yeah.
goal to hit that's helpful to the stream. Keep the comment section moving with positive comments that drive engagement with the right consumer base that have this endless fund to do this with.
Right.
The big badges. So we have key terms, and so I joke around with them about the key terms, but like Dubai, we love Dubai, like oil money, high spenders, that are gonna help drive this bigger badge to find us. I was slightly joking about it in the beginning, and now I know that your chat is SEO. So it's
Wow.
logging
So it
whatever you're
really
talking about.
does.
It does help and it does drive. Most of my high
Wow.
gifters are entrepreneurs, um, trust fund kids. Like big badges are driven from the key terms that I had jokingly said, bring into the chat this. And
Yeah.
so those people that if I've heard them say I can't recharge, I'm waiting till payday, or sorry, it's tough right now. I don't want you to feel like you have to gift.
Yeah.
Same thing like with my moderator team, like don't feel like you have to gift. There's other streamers that demand that their mods gift.
Really?
And that's how they determine their moderator. So there's a lot of streamers out there that this is why there's such a bad connotation with live streaming is they burn people to the ground in every way.
That's wild.
Emotionally, financially, they drain them. And that's disgusting to me. I can't live with myself to do that. I want to bring people up. I don't want to drain them. And so
Yeah.
if I even hear just a little bit of that, I'm like, don't even. Here's a mission. Here's how you can help me in other ways. You can share your story. You can keep the comment section going. You can get those likes up. Welcome people in. I have somebody that's just our welcome. It's our greeter. You give them a
Hmm.
role, and that's how you're gonna drive people that can't necessarily gift, but you're not shaming them. You're not like putting them down. And there's a lot of streamers that won't even acknowledge unbadged people in the chat. That's crazy to me. I try and if I catch, I'm a speed reader from TikTok Shop's experience. I can
Yeah.
speed read with the best of them and I can do multiple things at once. So therefore, I'm going to welcome in as many people as I can. And if somebody has a question, doesn't matter if they have a badge or not. They could be brand new to TikTok. And I've become a little bit known for this too, where I'm engaging with them, teaching them battles. They end up becoming one of the biggest gifters on the app within like a
Yeah.
month. You never know who's in your room. You never know who's engaging in the chat. Um, and they just don't know how to engage in a way that's supportive, or they're not
Yeah.
understanding what they're seeing. And so if I can teach people what this is, that's a win for the community too, the live
Yeah.
streaming community. So I try to acknowledge everyone in the chat, and then if I see some people trying to spend too much or wanting to spend too much, I stop it. And
Yeah.
I will block if I know, because I don't feel good with that,
Because you can see, like, on the back end who gave what and how much and all that other stuff and be like, wow,
There's a
this
list.
person is, yeah.
Yeah, if they've spent more, all of a sudden they spent more than they normally have, and I know it was a late night purchase, I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, this person maybe shouldn't be in the live stream at night. If in the middle of the night they've been in my room for months and they're normally spending this amount, and all of a sudden and it was a Saturday night, middle of the night, and they probably couldn't necessarily do that on a regular basis. I'm gonna
Mhm.
message them and be like, hey, like, thank you so much, but like, here's some other ways that if you
To
want, like,
participate.
to
Yeah.
participate, let's get you on the tap squad, like that's or the comment section. Please don't feel like that's ever I don't expect this every time thing.
What would
Because it's usually
be,
a drop
like,
in.
your biggest, like, single live financially, if I can ask, that you've ever done? Or, like, your biggest gift, or, what
The
does that look
number
like?
the number 2 day that I had, that was a $20,000 day.
What?
That means on the app, I earned the app 40,000 and I received 20. That's when you're
Whoa.
looking at ranks and you're seeing the top 3 standings. That's roughly how that is. Um,
That's
so
wild, and that's from
that's
gifts, that's from turning your the hat and all the others. So do you remember the lives that these people looked like they were like dolls, and they were like, "Thank you.
Oh, the
Thank you."
NPCs. Yes, yes, yes. They were
The
making tons.
NPCs,
Yeah.
I was fascinated by those, and I
Mhm.
would watch those because it was just so incredibly, bizarrely wild to me. It was just
Mhm.
such a different thing to see,
Yeah.
but that makes sense why those folks were doing that, and gobbling up hot dogs. Ooh, hot dog, thank you. Ooh, cupcake, thank you. Because you're like
Have you
watching
tried
this.
it? It's really
No,
hard to do.
no.
I've joked around and tried that. I've like ASMR, we joke around that if I'm furiously typing, that's ASMR. And so like we'll joke around about
Yes.
certain things, but it's not easy to continue with that. So people that are doing it successfully on the NPC lane, the ASMR lane, the mukbang, which is eating on camera lane without getting weird with it, like because
Yeah.
that'll flag you on TikTok too. I did accidentally tried that. I got flagged for my first time ever, restricted because of Doritos and Red Bull.
Because the brand or because what you were eating or because it was
Because of
dangerous?
the
What?
noise, I guess.
Stop it.
Reported it. Someone reported it. Yeah. And the noise was too suggestive. And I was like, I'm eating chips. Literally,
People
not in a weird
are
way.
wackos.
Not even in a weird way. Like, I was literally
Right.
just, it triggered someone they reported. So yeah, it can get really weird on the stream. And to that point too, to your question earlier, the stalkers. Imagine again, I go back to imagine your favorite TV show growing up or 90210. Imagine if you could have a two-way conversation with anyone from 90210.
No, literally.
You will start
Yes.
to have a delusion about you that you're in the show. Because if you
Yeah.
binge watch a show for long enough, you're starting to talk in their accent. Like
Yeah.
it's consuming.
Well,
And
I heard the
so there's
great
go ahead.
definition, it's limerence. And it's where you
Mm,
start to believe you're in a relationship or like you start to like fantasize about like
mhm.
this
You're actually friends with this person.
relationship that you're having and
Yeah.
that it's not real and that I first saw it outside of self and it
Mhm.
was what's her name and the machine. She's a singer.
Mm.
I can't think of her name right now. My brother just wanted me to go to the concert. But it's what's her name in the machine. And
Florence and the
she
Machine.
thank you, Florence and the
Yeah.
Machine.
Yeah.
And she came down on the floor level and like held this girl's face and I think she kissed her if I'm not
Oh no.
mistaken.
No.
And I'm like, "Do you have any idea what you just did to that girl?" Like she's going to hold that, but
Which is
maybe
cool
not in a
to a
healthy
degree.
way.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like you
So
just screwed up that girl.
I'm hyper conscious of that, probably more than I should be at a certain point. But I've always been very conscious of the weird. Like it felt weird when certain people were saying family or love you. I don't say love you to this. Like I try to avoid it as best as possible because
Yeah.
sometimes you're on with a group of streamers that you're genuinely friends with. You're like, bye, love ya. Like
Right.
that's it's casual. But the streamers, I'm. This is an app wide thing. Sometimes they'll say love in a way towards gift or nope,
Yeah.
hard pass. I call it a team for a reason. It's not a family, it's not a
I love
community
that.
even. I call it a team because that keeps it, we're here as sport mode.
Yeah. I love
Sport
that.
mode keeps it kosher, keeps it clean, and anyone that gets weird, nope. Anyone that
Yeah.
expects me to call them or bring them up onto boxes, up into the stream because they've gifted a ton,
Yeah.
immediately no. You don't know that's not you don't get something just because you're participating with the team. So it
Yeah.
keeps that level of that distance, but that is a hard thing to balance.
Well, because you
Uh,
could take advantage of it financially. I
and
mean,
most do,
it's
unfortunately.
one thing to invite people into your experience, but when you know you're baiting them into this quasi intimate relationship that they think they have a way bigger role in your life than they actually do, you're actually capitalizing on their belief or their delusion of a relationship, which
Mhm.
I love the idea of team. I love that verbiage.
It's very
That's
clean cut.
huge.
I don't do boxes. I don't take if somebody the most I'll do is if I ask for song suggestions or suggest if I'm asking for something, cool, give your ideas. If I'm
Yeah.
not asking for it, I didn't ask.
Yeah.
And I almost sound mean at a certain point, depending on the day and how much it's come across. Um, because a lot of people will try and dictate who I go live with. And that's where I broke down one day because I was not feeling well. And then everyone left me when I chose to co-host with somebody that was a little bit more aggressive. And I said, you guys aren't going to choose who I co-host with.
Yeah.
You like
Yeah.
thug it out. If you don't like them, thug it out. I hope you don't leave me because that's, you're ditching me and abandoning me at a certain point. Like the chat left because they didn't like
Wow.
how this person was speaking to me. And I was like, I can hold my own. If I'm putting my
Yeah.
foot down and I'm able to hold my own that day, cool. Why is that a problem for everyone in the chat? Like if I'm holding myself and I'm visibly able to endure it and hold my ground, why are we
Yeah.
all abandoning me? But even that, I have to be careful with my words around that because abandonment does have that emotional connection that like I had to be okay. I'm sharing a lot of my life with people, but there
Yeah.
are boundaries. There are boundaries. There are things that I choose to keep to myself. Um, Not out of any other reason, out of you got to keep some stuff for yourself.
Yeah,
You
you
can't
have
share
to.
everything. And it doesn't, people don't get to dictate who I'm dating or how I live my life or who I co-host with or what I talk
Yeah.
about. It's me. So I have to keep some of that power with myself. And that's been a growing thing too, is knowing that and being able to vocalize that in a responsible way.
Yeah.
Um, People
Keep it
do
safe for
think,
everybody.
yeah, people do get a little crazy. I understand why streamers change their name and have a stage name or character they play. I understand why creators keep a certain demeanor about them on stream, and maybe it's different in person. I have a lot of streamers that I don't co-host with that I've met in person that are fascinating people and kind people, but they have a character on screen and they play the
Well,
role.
yeah,
And
my
it's
husband and
wild.
I, we started doing some podcast episodes, and he's like, "People really like that." And I'm like, "The problem is that we're actually very private people."
Hmm.
And I'm like, "Okay, so can we talk about this? Can we talk about this? Can we talk about this?" I'm like, "No, we can't, and we're not going to, and you're not going to want to. So what the hell is the point of
Right,
doing it? Because
right,
us being there means we're going to start talking about our lives and our kids and our families,
right, right.
and our kids didn't sign up for this. So it just I put the kibosh on it. I'm like, it's not going to
Especially
work
with the
for us."
kids.
Yes.
Yeah. That
My
that
kids.
yeah, the kid element, especially the live side, I have a thing with that where I'm like, please, I love when people talk about their kids to a degree, but don't get too
Yeah.
specific. Just safety wise, don't get too specific.
Yeah.
Um, for the love of God, don't get, because I've experienced this where I'm like, I'm getting crazy texts from people while I'm live, or they found my number and they're
Wow.
saying weird stuff. So I can only imagine if there were other elements involved, like kids, that gets very scary very quickly. I had someone ringing my buzzer in my building trying to get a hold of me while I was live. They found my address and they had come and they had started ringing my buzzer. Um, so there's all these weird
Yeah, it's
things
no
that
joke.
I maintain composure while things are happening, but then I'm screenshotting messages, sending it to my moderator that I trust, and sometimes it used to be my agency. Now I don't have an agency, which TikTok agencies are a whole other beast of a thing. I don't know if you know too much about, but that's a whole world that's fascinating. But I used to send it to them as like, hey, heads up, I need you to be in the chat. I'm dealing with this. And they'd come right in
Yeah.
usually, and try and at least have eyes on it because you just never know. You're looking through the list of people that are watching, you're watching comments, you're making sure nothing gets too threatening in the chat, but usually that'll get filtered.
Yeah.
So the threats come through private avenues like texts. And if you've got your previews on and you only have one phone, now I've separated the phones so that way, okay, anything that comes to this phone, I can put it away at least
Yeah.
and not be
Right.
affected, but they're trying to affect you on stream in a
Yeah.
way that they can feel
Which
acknowledged.
is so wild that people, but it is true. I mean, my
Mhm,
husband posted something on Facebook to sell something,
mhm.
and this woman was just attacking him, and he's like, "People are crazy." And I'm like, "Yeah, and I've been doing this
Yeah,
for years." He's like,
yeah,
"How in the world do you do?" But I'm just like, "You just ignore
it's-
it." Like, but he's like, I want to say something back." And I go,
yeah,
"The best thing that you can say that is gonna piss her off and make her crazy is just send the laughing emoji." And it
mhm,
worked. It's like,
yeah.
"How did you know that was gonna work?" I'm like, "'Cause no one
I
wants to
like
be
it.
laughed at."
No,
If you
no.
sit there and go back and forth with them, then you're bait but if you laugh at them, it's literally the
Mhm.
kiss of death. And he's like, "It actually worked." I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah, my favorite thing to do is to try and get them to flip. And some of my biggest like trolls, as I call them, are
Yeah.
so they were so easily flipped because I was able to play with them a bit. There's a difference between troll and stalker and
Yeah.
malicious behavior. The trolls are the fun ones that you can flip, and they're the biggest supporters after that. They're like the chat.
Right?
I call them chat rats, where it's like they start out as one thing, and then all of a sudden they're like becoming like little pets in the chat to some degree where they're like coming in and joking. Like this one
That's so
comes in and says happy birthday. It's harmless. As long as it's
yeah.
harmless and it's fun and they come in and it's now an ongoing joke where they go into the other streamer that I'm co-hosting with and going, it's Gabriella's birthday for a year, every day.
Stop it.
That's a troll. That's fun. And I try
Right.
and point out to the fact that like that's a fun troll. We like that troll. Leave them, don't mute them, don't block them, mods. It's okay. The ones
Yeah.
that are malicious or coming in with a tone,
Yeah.
I'll call out. And if they give it an opportunity to flip their tone, flip their question, or explain themselves, because sometimes they come in with a really hard question
Mhm.
and they don't mean it harshly, but it comes across aggressive.
Yeah.
And if they aren't able to walk that back or say thank you after I explain it, or like, oh, that makes sense, or like soften it after,
Right.
then they're
Right.
out to just berate people, and that we get out of. It's just not worth the energy. We can usually suss that out pretty quickly, but it's wild how people behind a keyboard think that it's okay to act a certain way, and
It's wild.
the crazier part though is the co-hosts are usually the worst ones.
Mm.
It's the other streamers that are usually worse.
What is your like MO right now? Like going out, doing PR, doing podcasts. So blessed to have you on. But what would you say is your like really what you're trying to get out? I mean, you're on lives. I'm hoping that you're saying that you're going to figure out a way to do like a show, if you will, because I think that'd be
Yeah,
fantastic. Is
yeah.
that kind of like your next step in getting your name out, like in a maybe in a different avenues outside of TikTok where you're on podcasts, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and things like that to get your name more globally outside of the TikTok realm?
I think I have two answers to that because in one side I would say yes, that is the goal, selfishly. But also the first reason I started doing this was because I was getting so many questions from executive level. We're talking VP of marketing at global big ass brands.
Yeah.
Um, asking me, what are you doing on here? Nobody knows what this space is, but this is the future
Yeah.
of like entertainment and
Yep.
shopping. This is it. And we're if we either get on board or get out. Um, so it was my way of educating kind of a more mass audience. Same thing with how I pulled clips from my streams and I push it to my Instagram stories because I knew people following me there know me from the brand world. And you've got a
Yeah.
wide range of people that are educated, successful in their lanes, working in marketing and entertainment in every facet that were not understanding it. And even after showing them clips and showing them the battles, showing them the entertainment clips that we do,
Yeah.
um, it still
It's a
wasn't
different planet.
really, it's a different planet. We are in the Wild West and we're still building the saloon. Like,
Totally. It is a
it's,
different planet. I
it's
mean,
a different
well, I'm
planet.
just sitting here watching you like as we do,
Mhm.
people like when you're in TikTok, you're singing different songs. You're saying different stupid quips to your friends. You know what I mean? Like you're just
Yeah,
living in a different
it's a
galaxy,
different
literally,
world. Yeah.
different world. But I mean, like just even being on a live wearing a sweatshirt that says Gap or is a dress from Revolve. Now these
Mhm.
big brands are getting on TikTok in a very different way. Like
Yep.
that's worth money and that's
Oh
worth
yeah.
like you wearing a shirt for 12 hours on a live, like
Yeah, I've tested it. That's where I get my kicks is can I influence people subtly? If I'm ordering
right.
crumble cookies and talking about crumble cookies, how many of you come into the chat and tell me what you ordered or what I should order for the week because you tried it and it was
Totally.
good? And what other co-hosts? That's the kicker is what other co-hosts are doing the same thing and coming to me going, "Oh my God, I tried this one. Did you see this? Look at this. It's so pretty." And they're showing me what they got for the week. And Crumble is a one example, but I've done this across so many things. Hey, I saw that you did this, or other co-hosts, because then you have that ripple effect. My community is only so large. Yes, I get 5.1 million impressions a week, and I fill up SoFi Stadium every night, but there are streamers
Literally.
that are consistently pulling numbers. Um, large celebrities that will then engage with it or, "Oh, hey, what lipstick are you wearing?" Everything
Yep.
down to like, I saw your recent post, where are those shorts from?
It's
Like the little things.
unbelievable. It's
That's the
unbelievable.
true
I
impact.
remember just a necklace. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, where's that necklace from?" And unfortunately,
Mhm,
it was a closed down boutique. But
mhm.
if it wasn't, people were going crazy about this necklace, or,
Yep.
people like the lipstick, like you're saying,
Yep.
and just existing online. I'll tell people, like, if I have a video that's gone like mega viral, I'm like, this video has been watched, 2 million hours,
That's
or whatever.
insane.
And people
Yeah.
are like,
Uh,
what? I'm
it's a
like, that's like
wild.
Super Bowl numbers.
Yeah. Yep. And then you usually engage with more than Super Bowl ads are.
Yeah.
Like
It,
that's wild to think about. And as marketers, like our brains should think light years ahead of what you can do with that. And most people aren't doing that. And most people on the live side, and this is part of why I started doing press, is most people on the live side don't know how to do that. They don't know
yeah.
their true impact, and it frustrates me because there's some streamers that are freaking incredible. Like absolutely insane streams, whether it's the production value, like there's one streamer group that hires actors, produces a whole
Oh,
lot. They have a set
wow.
design, they recreate movies.
Get out.
And they should be top of ranks every day, but they don't know how to monetize it the same way without losing the art form. That's where I come in.
Mm,
I'm like, let me at this. Let's figure this out. But then as I was seeing the resistance from the brand side, I was like, okay, there's education that needs to be happening. And maybe it's a timing thing, but it's really education and validation from a couple of big companies or brands or platforms. Once you have
yeah.
that validation, it's game on. I know
Well,
those
maybe
those
that's the
players.
thing too, is coaching, like coaching classes that's not the gravitas and the
Mhm,
different
mhm,
live streaming companies like you're referencing. Maybe it's just
mhm.
a full on class where people go and go, okay, what am I doing? How do I do this? What should I
Yeah,
do? Where it's
yeah.
literally 20, 50 people taking a class for an hour
Mhm,
every Monday for 8 weeks,
mhm.
just some place to actually talk to a human. Because if you do one of these companies, you're on Discord, you may or may not get an answer. It's
You
a
mean like
whole
the
thing.
live stream agencies?
Yes.
Yeah, so you mentioned one, so you're familiar with that world a little bit
Well, yeah, because
to a
I did it
degree
because all I wanted to do was get a freaking TikTok live key so that I
to
could
get
do
studio.
and
Yeah,
it's the
yeah,
only reason
yeah.
I did it.
Which studio is like a whole other beast that you need coaching. I still am like, I don't want to do studio. Yeah,
Because I wanted to be able to just stream this. Like, why am I not streaming this to TikTok right now? It's
yeah,
stupid not to.
yeah. You
And
can. You
it's
can
a
do
whole
that
thing.
like easily. Like we'll test it out. I'll chat with you about that because it's just a different platform, but that's where live streams can be so cool and powerful for brands or podcasts or any other medium is you can take the replays, or if you're streaming on studio, you rig it a camera and you have that very high res quality video on your camera that's not pulling from the TikTok replay with metadata attached to TikTok, where if you take it to other platforms, maybe it doesn't. I have theories about that, but
Right.
you can take the camera SD card and have it all synced up there. But there's plenty of ways to do it. It's just most people aren't thinking about it that intricately. But the live stream agencies are in a turn and burn volume play, unfortunately. They are
Yeah.
benchmarked off that. So even me, I was number 2 on the agency roster successfully without fail every month for 16 months. And like we're
Wow.
talking, I was 6 times the number 3 spot. Like there was a
Wow.
big jump. And I was demanding a lot because I'm like, hey, I need help. And I know I'm going to plateau at this point. I need help to get to the next level up. And so to do
Yeah.
that, I need X, Y, and Z. It was reasonable if you were to actually take the time to listen or see what I was planning to do. I'm like, we could
Yeah.
do 4X this. Like it's business. If you can 4 times your revenue by doing X, Y, and Z that costs you minimal investment. But
Yeah.
yeah, you might have to reinvest some that you're making off the stream. But I know how much they were making off me, and it wasn't unreasonable to say, okay, invest half of that right now for the next 2 months. We're gonna make a sprint and it's gonna 4X the revenue.
Yeah.
Simple. Like it's math. They were resisting that and then trying to mentally the mental game was where I, as a rational human going through and have gone through therapy and been in a corporate setting, I'm like, hey, nope, you're not treating me like that.
You're like, I'm out.
So yes, and I gave them enough, you know, they're young. All these agencies are young. Again, it's the Wild West, so nobody knows what you can and can't do. But if you were to relate this as anyone in entertainment know, there's agencies like CAA and WME. These TikTok agencies will either be eclipsed and absorbed by either of those, or they're going to become the new CAA, WME types.
Mhm.
It's one or the other. It's kind of
Yeah.
probably both at a certain point. But
Yeah.
knowing that, you can't operate in a certain fashion, knowing that the big guys can't operate in a certain fashion. So why on earth would
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
So there, it's the Wild West, and nobody knows how to act, and it's a lot of people that are green to entertainment and they don't understand business, and then this is their first job, and they started a TikTok agency, and they only know as much as they know.
Well, I think
Um,
it's exciting though. I mean, it
mhm.
takes and puts the power in your hands because you have 24 hours in a day. You have personality, you have ideas, and no one can really tell you no. I mean, outside of certain rules, but you
Mhm.
can do whatever the hell you want. You could sit there and talk about, crumble
Yeah.
cookie and say, look, this is what and then go meet them and then make money from them because you're willing to eat crumble cookie every third video or every single video and show them the
Mhm.
week's things.
Yeah.
That's
It's
what I
well,
think.
that's the future, the branding side.
Right.
That's the but they're now, those brands weren't hip to it. I'm talking, I have every big brand imaginable that I've either worked with or know someone that works there. And I reached out to a few of them going, "Hey, I'd love to do a strategic partnership." And they don't know how to either position it to their bosses to get the budget, even
Yeah.
on gifting, where I'm like, I'm not even asking for finance support. I'm asking for you to maybe repost a video or, do little things.
Right.
Very few understood the space enough. They're looking at the concurrent viewers as concurrent viewership, like traditional TV, whereas we know traditional TV inflated those numbers for years. And it's a different beast, and they're
Yeah.
operating on a different concurrent viewership ratio and timing versus what we're working on. We're working on second to second. We see those
Second to
real-time
second.
number versus like on an average of 5-minute increments of concurrent viewership. So like there's so many different ways nobody, including myself, will know how to position it. You just need risk takers. And again, this is
Yeah.
coming from someone that is not a risk taker. Like I am considered the talentless, boring streamer, and I'm okay with that. But like if
Just
I
keep
can't
paying my
find
bills.
resolve, then like why, like I love to get creative and strategic with people, and it frustrates me when there's barriers that are saying no because I
Yeah. It's
know, that's no should never be like I never should get the no at this point. If especially if I'm like, hey, here's a creative idea. What's the holdup? What's the no about? Like
yeah.
there shouldn't be one. Why it costs them so little, if anything.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's just a matter of finding those people that are willing to take some risks.
totally. Well, I so appreciate you sharing all of this. It's so much. Like, it's all so much because it's all so new. And,
Yeah.
I think that so many people around are watching people like you and going, wait a minute, this can happen. I can hold a
Mhm.
conversation. Try
Yeah.
it, toe in, jump
Try it.
in, don't
Yeah.
quit your day job, see how much money
Yeah.
you can make on it. And you've
Yeah.
actually inspired me because I like never go live because like I said, I get
Yeah.
exhausted thinking that I have to be giving and giving and giving and giving for an hour.
Mhm.
And sometimes people just want to sit there and talk to someone that they've been following. And so
Even
that's
playing
you.
music, just
Yeah.
relax, just hang out with them. Some people just want a space to hang out into, so you're gonna find your lane, you just never know what that lane is.
Yeah. But I
So,
so appreciate you sharing. And
thank you.
I'm excited to see the Gabriella Gomez show.
Thank you. Thank you, Meredith. I'm excited for it too. I think there's a lot of things coming in the next month or 2. So,
Well, you'll have to come back when you have it all
please.
worked out and then come
Yes.
back so we can actually talk about the thing, whatever the thing ends up being, and we can and blast it all over the place over there. But thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank
I really
you.
appreciate it. Follow Gabriella Gomez all over social media. She's everywhere. Check her out live. If you're scrolling in the middle of the night, just tap that face and you'll get to hang out with her. And but thanks so much for showing up with us over here on TikTok Famous Podcast.
Thank you, Meredith. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. I'll see you here next week. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the TikTok Famous Podcast with Meredith Willits. If you're loving the unfiltered stories and behind-the-scenes truths, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share the show. Until next time, let's get famous.